Welcome back, boys and girls, to the 21st edition of Backstage in WWE with John Fisher and only him because I'm doing my podcast remote, live from the Constable Ground, buried below China, with my co host Baron Corbin. He'll be joining me soon after Brad's tirade last week. I figure take time into my own hands and do it by myself. Funny, it's more successful already. Would you look at that? And as Baron is constabling somewhere, actually he's skipping. Oh well, I don't know why he would skip. That's kind of weird. We'll try to get Brad in on the. Oh wait, no, you're still here. What am I thinking? It's all a joke, guys.
Yeah, you're used to doing it by yourself, aren't you, John?
Not anymore.
Oh gosh, yeah. As I predicted, this show is already down the toilet with John Fisher back. No surprise there. The star of the show is here, folks. Fear not. Do not change that podcast. I'm here.
We may have to get the constable in. Okay, I'm just gonna jump right into it. But by the way, last week I wasn't here. I moved in with my girlfriend, and that did take priority. And I am back for the foreseeable future. Because who knows? I could die tomorrow. Knock on wood.
It'd be a lot better podcast.
It might be. It might be. It depends. If I'm driving in a Mercedes in 2 weeks, I'll be happy for. Well, I already am happy forever, due to my companion. But I hope she heard that. If I'm driving a Mercedes Benz, what's there to be mad about, right? Because even if you have to go to work, you can drive in a Mercedes Benz. But anyway, this isn't going to be very structured because it feels like so much happened, but nothing happened. At least in WWE, in ring is concerned. What you're the biggest Baron Corbin marker I know. What is okay? So what? Explain to me what stupid thing he's doing now, and go.
He's the law of the land.
No, he's not. He's a bum.
No, he's the savior that Monday Night Raw needs but doesn't deserve.
Is he living the Mark Calloway gimmick from Backstage for all those years, but just on TV? I feel like that's what it's turning into. Just so everyone knows, the definition of a constable, why would they choose? It's like choose something that.
Constable, Corbin, they both start with C.
Oh, alliteration is fun. A constable is described as a peace officer with limiting police authority, typically in a small town. I don't think Vince knew what that meant when he came up with it. However, I digress. I think it's dumb. I don't get it. Why use the word constable? At least use something like commissioner or sheriff. The sheriff would have been funny. I would have been down with that because he kind of has that Western vibe. He collects skulls and does things to them and whatever. He could be a sheriff. Sheriff Corbin. That sounds accurate. Constable?
I'm all in.
No, you're not.
I am.
Objectively speaking, it sounds really dumb. I hate to say it.
I mean, when I first saw it, I said, what the hell is this? But I'm giving it a chance, and I actually, as the show went on, I liked it. They need someone to enforce the rules for that crooked-ass Kurt Angle.
So then we're putting a guy that has nothing to his career except for like a very short. Did he win a title? I think he won a title.
U.S. champion.
Yeah, for like a cup of coffee. So we're gonna put him in over the head of a Hall of Famer, one of the best of all time, a blubbering idiot. I love him, but there's no clarity to any of it.
Don't you know? He's a corporate guy now. He's part of the authority. He's there to make sure that everybody follows the rules, and I like it because mainly because he's He's getting a lot more time. I mean, he was the most featured superstar in the entire show this past week.
I will tell you one thing. I watched all the wrestling I got to watch this week was 75% of the Hulu cut of Raw. He was not even on the program once. So, is he really the most important part of Raw? Until he's on half of the Hulu cut, he will not be. Because we all know the Hulu cut is for the people that they want to see the show, but they just can't. So they put the most important parts into an hour and a half glob of BS and just ship it off to everyone to download. And that was me today. Didn't see Baron Corbin once.
Well, I think rules are important, John. Rules are important.
So let's
go without rules.
So let's talk about your hypocrisy a little bit. You hate the authority angle so much and want it to die, but yet you're in favor of it because Baron's in it?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Well, okay, so then your opinion's invalid.
No, I think it's a little bit different spin on the authority. It's a little bit different spin on the authority, and it's part of an actual wrestler's character. It's not a McMahon Helmsley. It's an actual wrestler who wrestles on the roster, who's getting something new to do because he had nothing to do. And it's something different, and I like it. I'm growing into it very quickly because it's giving him time to get on camera and to cut promos, and that's what he needs to develop and really shine. And I thought he was great in this role. It immediately got over, and I'm a fan of it.
I'll give it 2 weeks until it's really, really bad because that's been the theme going on. I have a new thing. This is like the least shit that I've given about wrestling since 2010, and that's saying something. I periodically watched from like 05 to 09, and then I had a lull. And then in 2010, I started to get back into it, right around the time where Cena took on R-Truth at Capital Punishment for the belt. And I was so tuned out.
Dream match alert.
You're right. This is where I think Truth was like the only guy with no entrance music, which I found really ironic for like a week, and then it wasn't cool anymore. But then I didn't want to watch anymore, and I
don't you remember when they had that hot feud when R-Truth was Ron Killings in TNA and John Cena was the guy in WWE?
Yeah,
and they had beef outside of the business. Some intense stuff there, let me tell you.
So now it's just so bland. I mean, and again, I'm usually the positive one, but it's getting to the fact that I'm starting to not care anymore. And it isn't me getting older. I'm only 25. I am in the primary demographic.
Your balls have barely dropped. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
They might drop in a Mercedes-Benz soon, but I'm tuning out so much right now. I mean, and I have all the time in the world. I work a schedule where it allows me to. I have no excuse to not watch every week, but I don't want to, and I wish I did. Like the Styles and Nakamura stuff. I am going to go back and watch that promo where he slapped him. That sounds interesting.
I mean, I'm definitely watching Raw and Smackdown live on delay right now for sure.
Yeah, I don't even know when I have wanted to watch it live last. A year, maybe?
Yeah, the product is just bad right now, and you know, everybody knows it. It's not even a, you know, I was talking to a source in WWE this week, and they said that essentially there's not exactly anything compelling to discuss from a storyline standpoint.
No, there's not.
Knows it. It's not a secret. You know, the people in the company know it. Everybody knows it. It's just not good TV. And we've talked about this as they go into a new big money deal with NBCU and also Fox, which is a huge money deal. I mean, I would presume they're going to want ratings to improve, and if they do, they've got to put on a better show. I mean, end of story, period. This is not a show that's going to draw a casual audience. This is not a show that's going to draw in any more of the hardcore fans than already watch. I mean, you already have that base, so they have to go to the casual audience, and
Yeah.
they're just putting on a show that no way. I mean, the characters are not relatable. The stories are not relatable. It's just not a good TV show. So yeah,
No. On Monday night, Raw drew a point 0.8. So let's clarify the whole thing. What is the primary demographic for Monday Night Raw? 18 to 49, right?
right.
0.85 rating. A 0.85. That's only 2.5 million people. They're up from the week before, but that's Memorial Day. People are out. It's understandable. They got a 0.77 on Memorial Day. Going over to SmackDown, stand by, please. And I just that it sucks.
SmackDown was the lowest rating in a while. Also, I mean, it was a very low rating as well.
Yes. So let's clarify this by saying there was no NHL or NBA finals to compete against. Meanwhile, we know that the NBA is going to draw a good bit amount of press, but the NHL, with how Vegas is, and Alex Ovechkin's one of the more notable guys in hockey. Even the very casual hockey fan knows who that is. They're going to tune in to watch, especially Vegas with how great they've been doing. Right? It's hot right now. Now, I'm trying to look for ratings from SmackDown. They're hard to find. Let's see. I think I got it. I got it. Oh, good Lord. You thought Raw was bad. SmackDown Live drew a 0.67 rating in the same demo with 2.1 million viewers.
Yeah. Yep. And that 2.1 million, that's that hardcore audience. And, not even all of the hardcore audience tunes into SmackDown. Like, they want to bitch about how Daniel Bryan's booked, but not even all the hardcore audience will tune in to watch SmackDown.
It goes to show. See, but here's the problem. We talked about it before. Their cast, we're going to call them a cast. Their cast is tremendous. They have the pieces. They have Ronda Rousey. They have, at times, Brock Lesnar. They still have John Cena.
They have Baron Corbin.
Shut up. They have
Big Cass.
Stop it. Big Cass is a lerp who should be in the Euro basketball league. They have mid card guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Bobby Roode. They have international flavor, Cien Almas, Shinsuke Nakamura. They have relatable guys, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose for that men appeal. Monsters like Braun Strowman, who the kids love, Finn Balor, who's a kid favorite. I mean, all the pieces come to in Charlotte, who's I mean, her name alone gets her some hype, and a good supporting cast as well. It doesn't make any sense as to why this is continuing to happen. I think we talked about this the last podcast that you and I both did too, 2 weeks ago. It's a continuous spiral of hell, and I don't know when it's going to stop.
It's a good question. I think it's a fair question.
Do you find it? What?
Go ahead.
Do you find it sad that there has been more hype for an indie one-off pay-per-view that isn't even happening for another 3 months than WWE has had in probably 2 or 3 years?
I don't find that really surprising.
Why not?
Well, I think this show, the All In show, is more about the state of the hardcore audience in professional wrestling than anything, which we know is really strong right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes indie wrestling strong compared to previous times. And it's a destination attraction. It's a one-time deal right now. Obviously, there could be a part 2 in drawing, in a 2 and a All In 3 and 4 and 5. That's a lot more challenging. But a one-off deal with some of the indie marks favorites, I mean, I can totally see that. I'm not surprised by that. I mean, they're not doing, 2 TV shows a week on network TV and on the road 275 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
They start doing that, and then they have hype over one of their shows, then I would be totally impressed.
Yeah, I mean, to give them credit where it's due. 10,000 people sold out in very, very little time. And I mean, we did find out that it was not full of scalpers, which is good to hear, because scummy people doing scummy things.
Yeah, and they don't even know what the card is, and that's the thing. Again, it goes back to this really being more about the hardcore audience of wrestling fans than anything. They don't give a shit who's on the card.
Nope.
Right? That's
Nope.
not what it's about. It's just like the ROH shows. They can sell out 500 people before they even tell you what the card is. It doesn't matter what the card is.
Yep. Nail that on the head. Before we get to this slight breaking news portion of the show, Dean, who you and him are having a very good time together. I feel like you should just have him on, not me.
I feel this could be the feud of the year, like better than anything on Raw and SmackDown Live.
To continue that feud, I feel it was only fair and only fun that Dean talks about the new sheriff of Raw, Baron Corbin.
It is time to climb not only the top rope, I'm climbing to the top of the cage. No, I am climbing to the top of hell in a cell to drop an elbow through the Spanish announce table on Constable Baron Corbin. The reason that I can do this?
Oh, he's going to rub that in every week.
The ironclad contract from millionaire Jon Fisher. Constable Baron Corbin.
He is buying a Mercedes.
You're happy about this? You think this is good exposure for Baron Corbin? Let me remind you about some of the past law enforcement in the history of WWE. The Big Boss Man. I don't recall him ever being WWE champion. The Mountie. I never recalled him being WWE champion. But then we had Sheriff Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that was after he retired and couldn't compete in the ring anymore. This is nothing more than at best a mid-card gimmick. You think this is going to lead to something for Corbin? You are delusional, and I need to drop that elbow on you from the top of Hell in a Cell just to put some sense back in your head to understand that Baron Corbin has now been put in his place, and that place is eternal mid-card. That elbow's been dropped, and it's falls count anywhere. 1, 2, 3.
I was hoping for the nut shot at the end because he did say last man standing.
Yeah, what would a Shinsuke and AJ match be without a shot to the balls?
You're right. What would a program be without that? So what do you think about
what a Dean segment be?
What's that?
A Dean segment is like a shot to the balls.
Ouch, that's kind of rough.
Oh, I've got to cut a promo on him. We got to continue this feud. It's bigger than anything on Raw.
Well, then I'll let you take the floor.
Well, Dean is wrong. Obviously, he's jealous of Baron Corbin's hair. And I think that's very, very obvious. Dean wishes he had the hair Baron Corbin does. Very thick and full and long. He's definitely not balding.
Man. Dean, I can speak for Dean. He's not balding.
I'm not saying Dean is balding. I'm just saying
Baron's balding.
No, absolutely not. No.
You do know that they came out that WWE has been how do I put it? Fudging the height numbers. So Baron's only 6'3". Did you know that?
That's total bullshit. He's 6'3".
Did you know that?
Look, pal. I sat in the front row when Baron Corbin wrestled on numerous occasions. I'm 6'6". Baron Corbin is a legit 6'6".
Are you
He's tall, pal.
Are you sure about
Oh,
that?
I'm sure. He is no Finn Balor.
I think
He's no Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling.
well, I don't know. I think he's 6'3" to me. I don't know.
Well, you're short, so that could be possible. You think he's not as tall. But he is 6'6". He has great hair. He's great in the ring. And he was, by far, the most entertaining thing on Monday Night Raw. So, Dean, I've just dropped the elbow on you, pal.
Uh-oh. Oh, hey, look.
Whoa.
Brian Cage is the new X Division champion. Do you remember when when X Division was for, like, cruiserweights and it was exciting?
Yeah, I can barely remember that. Can you remember when Impact Wrestling was exciting?
2010, 2011. I actually liked it.
Well, there's one of you.
Oh, no. That's when they actually were doing, like, average ratings. It wasn't bad. Austin Aries and Bobby Roode for the TNA title. Hell of a match. Anyway,
yeah.
So let's get there. There are a few things that I want to talk about. Number one, you mentioned Johnny Gargano, and I know you don't like him because he's cooler than you, but we can move past that. On Busted Open Radio, Dave LaGreca and God help
Bubba.
Thank you. Do you know where I'm going with this? Bubba Ray Dudley. They were talking to Shawn Michaels last week, and before you say anything, because I know you hate most of everything, they were talking about Michaels, and he said he was open to one more match, which we all know. I don't think it's a secret, right? Bully Ray, I think, made a very good point. And he said the Johnny Gargano, or I'm sorry, no one wants to see Shawn Michaels, Daniel Bryan. I don't know. He shouldn't have said nobody because that's not true. He said we don't need to see Gargano and Michaels or Daniel Bryan and Michaels or AJ Styles and Michaels. There's a quote that I'm trying to find from Bubba Ray. He said this. He said, could you imagine if Shawn Michaels was in the ring? And he was talking about since he's in NXT, he's a producer, and he was talking about all the great things that Johnny Gargano's doing and all the matches that he's been able to watch and how amazing he is. And then Tommaso Ciampa comes out and beats the ever living piss out of Shawn Michaels, and that's his match. The reason that I bring that up is because I'm sure you're a critic of it, but to hear it from someone like Bully Ray, who has more experience than all of us combined, and I like that line of thought. I would like to see a dastardly heel to put somebody over into the next level that would actually give Michaels a good match, but it would have some feedback for the future. What do you think?
I hate it.
I know. You hate everything.
By the way, have you noticed how poorly Shawn Michaels has aged?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe time to change up that theme music, but man, I would hate the match. I would hate Shawn Michaels wrestling again. And I think, it would just be a total waste. If he did one more match, like fucking wasting it on Johnny Gargano or someone in the minor leagues. Are you kidding me? That's a terrible idea. I'm sure all 10,000 fans that watch the show will love it, but that's a terrible idea.
I'll disagree with you. Ciampa would give him a hell of a match.
Oh, it'd be one hell of a 5-star fuckfest, and Dave Meltzer and all the marks would just go gaga over it. I'm sure it'd just be a fucking fantastic. Wow, I would probably watch it 90 times in a row, naked.
You just hate fun. I'll let it go. Well, he also said that CM Punk needs to come back to wrestling, but there's that.
CM Punk has a better chance of winning an actual MMA fight than returning to WWE. Is that fair to say?
No, he's going to come back. We all know it.
I don't think so.
Why wouldn't he?
Why would he?
Money. He's going to run out eventually, and he's going to get his ass kicked on Saturday.
He was smart with his money. It doesn't matter if he loses; he still gets paid.
Not nearly as much.
Okay, but he still gets paid, and the guy's already a millionaire. I mean, he made it pretty clear in an interview done very recently.
Well, he talked to Ariel Helwani of MMAfighting.com the other day.
And after that, he clarified in a new interview that he's put wrestling behind him and he would not be returning to wrestling.
Bullshit. I don't agree with that whatsoever. He's going to. Everyone comes back. Everyone.
I've always said that. I agree. I've always said that. But I've also always said if there was one person that wouldn't ring true with, it would be CM Punk.
Bret Hart, Goldberg, Ultimate Warrior. There's 3. They said the same thing. Everyone said the same thing about them. And they came back. In fact, it shouldn't even matter to Punk anymore since he won the lawsuit. At least with Bret, he had a legitimate case for something that I agree was it was just about a title on a television show. If we want to get incredibly transparent, but they screwed him on live TV. Goldberg just hated wrestling because he was never good at it. On Ultimate Warrior, there's a lot of politics that, I don't know all of the details, but hiccups. I thought those were more long shots than Punk. What happened to Punk? They treated him like shit. They treat everyone like shit. I just think he's being a baby, especially after now he won the lawsuit. Who cares? It's over.
Well, he's over it. That's the thing. He's over it. He's over wrestling. He said he couldn't even watch wrestling. He turns it off after 8 seconds if he tries to watch it.
I thought he said that like 2 or 3 years ago.
No, he said that in a recent interview.
Well, people aren't going to stop wishing he comes back, and
that's true. I mean, they're not over it. The fans are not over it more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the CM Punk chants, a lot of that now is just like, it's the new what chant and whatever. It's just something they don't like. So to rebel against the presentation of the character or the story, they're going to chant CM Punk. It doesn't even necessarily mean that they want CM Punk. But, it's like the guy's moved on. And of course, the selfish fan and all of us would love to see it. But like, maybe let's chant the name of a guy who actually wants to be there.
Like Kenny Omega, who, meanwhile, this just happened a few hours ago. We're recording this on Thursday night.
Kenny Omega would be a good, solid hand for the cruiserweight division.
You hate everything that's fun. No, I'm not even talking about it. I'll talk about it on Twitter for those of you who want to see it. John Fisher TV. I retweeted it. So what about Bruce Pritchard? Did you see what happened with him?
With his show being pulled for the week from the network?
Yeah. So long story short, they were doing a show. What was it about ECW?
It was about ECW, and it covered the original ECW and the WWECW version as well. And they pretty much kind of buried it sounds like, and talked about how good the old ECW was and how bad the WWE version was. And WWE said, I don't think we're going to put that on the network. Sorry, pal.
And I'm looking to see. I'm actually going on his producer Conrad's Twitter right now to see if they. This is really funny. So when Conrad put the video up on Twitter, some guy responded, "What's the creative differences?" And Conrad goes, "We didn't want the show to suck."
Yeah, I mean.
I think it's funny.
Actually, yeah.
And it's respectful too that they don't want to be run over by idiots.
Well, I mean, did anybody actually think they were just going to go on the WWE network with their podcast and actually say whatever they wanted? I mean, that's preposterous. Of course they're going to be controlled on what they can say.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
By the way, what did you think about Constable Corbin tipping over the tacos and really giving it to that Kurt Hawkins and James Harden.
James Harden? Was he on the show?
James Harden was on the show, but James Harden from Houston, a local wrestling jobber, wink, wink, not the Houston Rockets James Harden.
Oh, it didn't make the Hulu cut. Corbin's not popular enough. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Well, what do you have against tacos?
Actually, I'm getting tacos next week. Nothing.
Okay.
Corbin hates tacos because he hates everything. Just
Well,
like
he got instant heat for tipping over the tacos because
yeah.
there was a "We Want Tacos" chant, and after he destroyed Kurt Hawkins, he tipped over the tacos on them. Instant heat, pal.
You know, here's what you deserve. So, in response to the Bruce Pritchard podcast not being stifled, I have a surprise for you because you buried Kenny Omega, more popular than practically almost every WWE superstar. I'm not that
that's
big.
a load of shit.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm not even that big of a fan of the guy.
Yeah, it is. It's just total crap.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. And because
does the WWE need any more 5'9", 5'10", whatever sub 200-pound guys? Do they not have enough of those? I'm just curious.
they need more charisma that can actually sell tickets, because no one else can. And make it 6 foot, by the way, 230.
No, he is absolutely not 6 foot 230.
I will prove you wrong, literally right now.
Okay, you produce Kenny Omega and you measure him.
I can do that. So, because Baron Corbin's awful, I figured that we can do something fun for the first time ever.
There's a certain beauty in what I have.
2 times in a week, baby, and it's all your fault.
Oh, God, this goddamn ironclad contract.
And that's the ability to drop elbows at will. Because I have an ironclad contract, I can just drop them wherever I want. And I'm dropping one straight on top of WWE management. And the reason for that is another podcast. Something else to wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. And I'm not dropping it on them. I'm dropping it on WWE because of the decision to not air the show that they did this week on WWE's version of ECW. They wanted to edit it. They wanted to take a lot of things out of it, apparently, as the story goes, as the rumor and innuendo would tell you. And Conrad and Bruce said, no, we're not doing it. I applaud their decision to stand their ground. WWE, you can't put out a show that is supposed to be based on truth, that's supposed to give you the inside story, that's supposed to share stories on the inside and make something that the fans will want to see the WWE universe as a wheel. And then censor it. You're trying to engage in your typical revisionist history, and that is the kind of crap that just pisses off your viewers. I applaud them, and not only that, I hope they air the entire thing on their regular podcast, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, and I hope that that podcast gets monumental downloads to show you, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that the truth and the inside story, the real story, at least according to Bruce and Conrad, of course, is what the fans want. It's a farce, Vince McMahon, that you say you listen to the fans. You haven't listened to the fans in years. The elbow's been dropped, Vince. 1, 2, 3.
Oh boy, let's hope that's the last appearance for Dino for the night.
Well, what else
I mean,
would you
I'll
like
give it
to?
to him. He is the cure for insomnia.
What else? Well, it might be the last one. What else would you like to say that everyone hates?
Let's see. Everyone hates midgets. And what else?
BMW?
BMWs, Mercedes.
No, not Mercedes.
They were on the list.
I do commend Bruce and Conrad for sticking to their guns. It might lead to them being fired, but you know what? They were getting a lot of downloads as it is, so I don't really think it matters to them. They already got paid.
That's fine. Whatever. Whatever.
You just want to talk more about Baron Corbin. No one else does.
Well, yeah.
Nope.
I mean, he had some great segments. Why would we not want to continue talking about Baron Corbin?
If they were so great, why did they make the Hulu cut?
Don't you love the way he screwed Bailey?
I don't even know what happened.
Well, you see, Bailey ran down to the ring, hit her finisher, and pinned the opponent. But Bailey was never in the match. Bailey put herself in the match by running down to the ring, hitting her finisher, and actually the referee counted 3. But fear not, Constable Corbin said, "Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Kurt, you're going to have to tell them Sasha and Bailey did not win that match. Bailey was an illegal entrant into the match. She cannot put herself on the match. Therefore, they lose by disqualification." That's right.
All right. That's enough. This podcast is going to hell.
Did you see the tag team battle royal?
I did. Drew and Dolph were out first.
Okay, so this was the weird part to me, and the battle royal sucked, but the thing about it is, okay, so if you're building up Drew and Dolph, in particular Drew, right, for an eventual singles run,
yeah,
you want to keep them protected as possible.
Yeah.
So why would they be eliminated first thing in this match? You know they're not going to win, right? Because the story was the B team winning.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to keep Dolph and Drew protected. So instead of just having them go out first on a fluke, which is what they tried, don't put them in the match.
Yeah.
That's the best idea.
Yeah.
Right? And if you need to, find an excuse as to why they aren't in the match, can't be in the match, but don't put them in the match to begin with. I thought it made them look foolish. Now, the only exception to that would be if they're trying to start a Dolph-Drew feud where one turns on the other, then I think that's the way you would go. But it doesn't seem that's the case. So I thought that was illogical and not very bright.
This Monday will be the tale of all of that. And we'll see certainly where it goes.
Speaking of illogical, how about Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley and his sisters?
Actually, I thought Sami Zayn's promo was great this week with the crappy content he was given. He's working with deliberate idiots, so it's hard to cut a promo about Instagram. He made it work. I loved it. Thought it was great. Storyline stupid.
I've got to say that in this particular role, with what Sami Zayn is doing, it was good. There's no doubt about it. Got to give him props on that.
Very boring though, or I'm sorry, very bland and boring writing.
Terrible writing, and the presentation of Lashley is god awful. It's so bad, right? I mean, just his facial expressions and that overly forced fake smile. Oh God, the whole presentation is terrible. And so Sammy questions him not even being in the army, and Bobby pretends to get upset, and then immediately starts smiling and pumping his fist to the crowd. I'm like, what? The human emotions on the show aren't even relatable. People don't look like they're actually angry at one another. The emotions are not relatable. They're not real. And this was a perfect example of that, I thought. This match is just total throwaway crap. The whole thing is just stupid.
It is. Well, at least, and Bobby Lashley, I mean, they could have made him look really good. They did not so far at all. Actually, it's quite the opposite. He looks very, very dumb, stupid. which is sad because he seems like a pretty good heel if we ever find out what that is. Now let's end on a really good note, and that is Seth Rollins. The guys, the most popular star they have currently right now, and Michael Cole explains how hot he is. I mean, he's an attractive guy.
What?
Yeah, you don't hear him say he's the hottest superstar every week.
Probably drives a Mercedes.
He might. I wouldn't blame him. Now, again, Seth has been so good.
You think he watches Riverdale?
He better. That'd make me like him even more.
Yeah.
When did they screw it up? Is Elias going to win the belt and then Seth face Brock at SummerSlam and then beat Brock and then Brock and Paul Heyman split for good?
Well, that would certainly be a better option.
Yeah.
As far as they're going to do that, there's no indication that Roman is still not the guy. I would certainly like to see Elias win the Intercontinental Championship. He needs that legitimate win to really give him the push he needs, and I think that's perfect. It allows Seth Rollins to go into the Universal Championship picture against a Brock Lesnar, and certainly the fans would be into that a lot more rather than yet another Roman Reigns-Brock Lesnar match. It's a match we've seen more times than we want to, and obviously a lot of the hardcore fans don't want to see Roman Reigns in that role. So I guess we'll see what happens.
We certainly will.
But there's no indication right now that it'll be Seth Rollins. But we'll see what happens. I mean, certainly if he loses the Intercontinental Championship, I don't think you can rule it out.
In what capacity does Dean Ambrose come back before we go?
Hopefully Dean comes back and, I think he'll need a heel turn eventually. I think he'll do really good in that regard. But
yeah,
I think he's going to come back really hot as well. Just like Seth Rollins did when he returned from injury. And I think it's very possible they'll screw that up, But he could go right into the Universal title picture. He could do something with Roman or Seth.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot he could do.
Yeah. And with Brock out of the picture, you can have more champions because of the believability factor is going to be lessened by a significant amount because, Brock is what he is, and then everyone else is what they are until Braun wins it. Then we have the whole conundrum all over again. But until then,
yeah, the main event of Raw was just that was boring to me.
At least we have Ronda Rousey taking the title off of Nia Jax. Or no, she's a heel now. She'll DQ herself and they'll have a rematch at SummerSlam.
What an odd segment and what an odd way to present Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
The whole thing in Nia Jax as well. I mean, she went from bullying victim to bully in the blink of an eye. So the whole thing is just stupid. But
that's what happens.
Yeah, that's right.
So where can we find you on tour? Were you going to say something?
Revolution.
What about?
I wasn't even done talking. You're ready to cut this episode, and I've got a whole. What is it now that you're out of elbow drops from Dean? You're ready to cut the show?
A little.
All my content to say, SmackDown Live was bad.
That's why I didn't talk about it.
Lots and lots of women's wrestling. The Bludgeon Me Brothers. Bad comedy. A contract signing. But there was one bright spot, of course. Big Cass.
Sucks.
Interview with Renee Young.
Horrible.
Cass talks about his height and says a good big man will beat a good small man any day.
Not true.
Yeah, that was great. I love that.
He's
more
awful.
of that.
He is so awful.
How about Stephanie McMahon on Undercover Boss?
Oh, yeah. She looks the same.
Yeah, she looks the same. And I was like, okay, this has got to be like an episode of Punk'd or something. Like, nobody could not tell it's her, especially that voice. So I asked a source in WWE about it, and they said people were in on it with Stephanie.
Of course they were.
Yeah. So no surprise there. Reality TV is not always real. Imagine that. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm glad we got that in. But yeah, I didn't want to talk about SmackDown. I thought it was
it sucked. Raw wasn't good, but SmackDown I thought was even worse. And can Samoa Joe change those dirty satin sheets he wears as trunks to the ring?
Only if Kenny Omega comes back to WWE or comes to WWE. He's never been there.
Hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I would love to see more jobber matches. I mean, he would make Corbin look really strong on Monday Night Raw.
If Corbin ever makes the Hulu cut. Where can we find you on Twitter?
At the Brad Shepard. SHEPARD. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Yes. Every time you have something for Corbin, I have an answer right back. Don't even at me. You can find me on Twitter at John Fisher TV. I will always be on the Hulu cut, unlike some scrubs. Do you have anything else to say?
Yes, Becky Lynch sucks.
Oh, she's tremendous. She's my favorite. She's my favorite. And she always will be. Well, I'm a big Sarah Logan, or not Sarah Logan. No, she was in Insanity, who should have debuted already.
Such a big fan.
yeah, dude. So here's my thing, and I'll end on this. I usually binge NXT right before the pay-per-views, and I haven't yet. Nikki Cross, that's it. Her and Sarah Logan have the same build, but anywho, that's all I have to say. I'm gonna go do more research and watch some NXT. I will see you all next time. Yeah, it's a we podcast. That's right. We're here too. God.
Oh God, he's back for 1 week and it's all about him.
The wheel just keeps going round and round.
That's right.